Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Assalamualaikum, Mariam.
Alaikum assalam, ma'am. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. What about you?
I'm also fine, alhamdulillah.
All right. I got the reply which I mailed to the head of the ATHE.
Okay.
They told us that you can even use SME or MNC, like the big organization. It is absolutely up to you. So I would prefer uh, we should choose those companies in which we have enough data so that we can fully achieve
Yes.
all the learning outcomes and assessment criteria.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Any
So
further?
any suggestion like which company I should choose? Like
For
any
that,
suggestion from your side?
I have to do the homework by myself first, and then I can tell you.
Okay. If you have anything like that,
Yeah,
that I should go with this, then you just let me know.
yeah, definitely. In the upcoming class, that is, I think, on Sunday or next Tuesday, I will be telling you to which company you can
Okay.
opt. All right.
No problem, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Basically, this is the continuation of LO3, which was understand the purpose and impact of the corporate communication strategy. And today we will be covering the merit, task, and like the assessment criteria and the distinction one. So M1 says develop appropriate measures to monitor the effects of a planned corporate communication strategy. Again, this is the abbreviation of the command verb, which we'll see in the activity class. A corporate communication strategy is a structured plan to effectively and consistently communicate both internally across the departments between executives and employees with the investors and externally to the customers and the public. So by the definition, it is very clear that what actually communication strategy, the corporate one, helps in the structure plan. It actually assists, it helps the internal and the external people which are associated with the organization. So there is no single strategy that works universally across companies. And again, this is a very true thing. When we are working in an organization, there are multiple strategies which we need to follow on each and every step.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay. Again, if you have any question, you can freely ask me.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Developing appropriate measures to monitor the effects of a planned corporate communication strategy is essential for evaluating its success and making necessary adjustments. Obviously, when you want to make your corporate communication strategy successful, when you're planning it, it is very necessary that we should take proper measures, proper steps through which we can achieve it. There are certain steps which we will be discussing in, I think, in the upcoming slides. So here's a structured approach to developing such measures. The number one says set clear objectives and outcomes. Now, by the term, or you can say by the step number one, it is very clear that we have to see what are the objectives first of the organization and of the project to plan the corporate communication strategy and what will be the outcome. So first we are planning and then we are also predicting it. Let's see into it. Define specific objectives for the corporate communication strategies. These objectives should be measurable and aligned with the organization's overall goals. So these goals should not deviate with the company's goal. They should be aligned together, same as it is. As in the words can be different, the essence can be different, but the main crux should be the same. For example, objectives could include increasing brand awareness, improving employee engagement, or enhancing customer satisfaction. Now, these ultimately are even the goals of the organizations as well. So, this is what even we make in the objectives of the corporate strategies as well. Number two is identify key performance indicators, that is the KPI. It is based on the objectives. Identify relevant KPIs that will serve as a measurable indicators of success. Basically, through which we can see whether we are going to able to achieve this task or not, this plan or not. KPI should be specific, quantifiable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That is SMART. This is a strategy. Maybe you have learned about SWOT analysis in the business. That is called strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is just like that, SMART. This means your goals, your objectives should be specific, very clear, quantifiable. We can achieve them. And again, achievable means we are able to do it in the limits of a budget. Relevant to what? With our organization's objective, and time bound. For example, if we are able to do it in next 6 months or 1 year, that is what SMART is. For instance, if the objective is to enhance brand awareness, KPIs might include website traffic, social media engagement, and media mentions. First, in this, like in the first step, it we determine in the objective that we want to do the brand awareness. Now, in the second step, we are doing the KPIs. What we can do to achieve that? We can do it through the Instagram, through the Snapchat, through many platforms, LinkedIn, and so on. Action plans and timescales. Develop action plans detailing the steps to be taken to implement the communication strategy. It is the responsibilities and established timescales for each action. This ensures that the strategy is executed effectively and on time. So to be on time, everything should be performed according to the plan, according to the objectives. Only then we can achieve our timescale. The fourth one is cost analysis or the benefit analysis. It is to conduct a cost-benefit analysis to evaluate the potential return on investment. It is specifically done in the accounts of the communication strategy. We see in this in ROI that what will be the return, what will be the profit when we do this certain amount of investment in ABC organization, or even on a plan. Compare the expected benefits, for example, increased sales, improved reputation, to the cost involved, for example, campaign expenses, staff time. Feedback system. Implement feedback mechanism to capture insights from various stakeholders, such as employees, customers, and partners. Because obviously we are making the goals of the organization, we are making a plan. So it is very necessary we should take the feedbacks from the internal and external employees, stakeholders. Use surveys, focus groups, and social media monitoring to gather the feedback on their perceptions of the communication efforts. Even through the emails, we can gather the feedback from these people.
For the feedback thing, what kind of example we can quote?
It is very simple. Like we want to take the feedback from for example, our director. He's also a stakeholder, right? So
Yes.
what is, we're going to ask him whether these plans, which we have sketched in step number 1, that is the objectives, are these feasible enough? Are we going to achieve in upcoming years? Are these relevant to our competitors or not? And that this can done be through the emails because we are directly talking to the director. So this is not going to be through surveys or focus groups or not even social media.
So what we are communicating by the email, what we are asking him by the email is the communication, right?
Yeah, the feedback, whether the objectives, the first 4 steps, the which we discussed with the five,
yes.
are they going to be achievable or not? Because ultimately he is the head. So we have to ask everything from him, the approval, basically.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then here it is. Then we have control loop. Establish a control loop that involves regular review and assessment of the strategy's progress. Now, what happens is when we make a team develop a plan, strategy plan, we always ask for the recommendations from our employees, from our colleagues. Why? Because plan does need changes from time to time. Maybe after 2-3 weeks, or you can say after 2-3 days, new research has been found. And this can help us in making our plan more effective. Set up checkpoints at predefined intervals to evaluate whether the strategy is on track and whether any adjustments are needed. And this can only be done by discussing the past data, the present data, and then we can go for the future benefits, as in future data. We will be able to achieve this or not? Is it even achievable or not? Clear, Maya?
Ma'am, here the strategy, they are talking about the communication strategy or the overall strategy which are being made for achieving the vision.
Specifically corporate communication strategy. So whatever the communication strategy is used in the organization, corporate culture.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we have formal and informal knowledge channels. Utilize both formal and informal channels to gather information about the strategy's impact. Formal channels may include reports and dashboards, while the informal may include the direct conversation with the employees, customers, or partners. Now, this is the informal channel, which I gave you example in step number 5, feedback. We are directly talking to the board of director or CEO. We did send the email as a
Correct.
formality, but we're talking to him. We can talk to him very easily. Quantitative and qualitative measures. Use a combination of quantitative as well as qualitative measure to capture a holistic view of the strategy's effect. That is, overall view of these strategies. That if we take these steps, what will be the effect on the organization? Whether this plan is going to be successful or not, what it will be impacting our different departments, the manufacturing department, the R&D department. And by quantitative, it means the amount of money which we're spending on it, and qualitative, the amount of quality we are putting in it, as in whether is it very excellent or not. Quantitative data, for example, metrics and numbers, provided numerical insights, while qualitative is about the feedback and antidotes, offer the richer context and insight. Is this clear, Miriam? Okay. Then we have slide 15. Then we have realistic and achievable targets. And one more thing, the slides which are always made for you guys, it is from the indicative content. You can easily find beneath the roadmap.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So these are all already mentioned in your roadmap. I don't know what do we call it. What is the other word for roadmap? The one in which all the content and syllabus is given.
Yes, ma'am. That is, yeah, understood.
Okay, perfect. So
Indicative context, yeah.
yeah, indicative content. So that this is how you have to write in your assignments as well. Each and every point, you have to include these points as well. Plus, if you want to put another extra effort for, to be more insightable in the eyes of examiners, you can definitely add more data.
Ma'am, there are no limits for the pages. How many pages of words?
I prefer 2.5 pages. These are more than enough of the Word, of Microsoft Word.
Okay.
But it depends on you as well. Because sometimes what happens is, in less data, we can easily explain our thought, what we want to explain to the examiner. But again, we have to see the command verb again and again. What is the requirement of the command verb?
Correct.
Clear, Miriam?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then we have continuous improvement. Based on the collected data and insights, based on the collected data and insights, continuously refine the communication strategy. That is, whatever we have taken the steps to improve the corporate communication strategy, we have to see whatever the results we have accumulated till now, step number 9, are those what do we call, applicable on the employees or not? Outsiders and insiders, both. That would be external and internal employees. Identify areas of improvement and adjust the strategy to optimize its impact. For example, we made the corporate communication strategy plan and one point was deviating. It wasn't applicable. Then what will it will give an impact to the team leader? Definitely he has to change it so that they can adjust with the new one. Okay. Then we have reporting and communication, that is giving again a feedback, a final feedback. Developing the report structure that outlines how results will be communicated to the stakeholders. Now, because they are the ones which have invested the amount in your organization, so everything should be in a very formal way, right?
Yes.
So we always make a report. That is why even when you guys make a presentation in your assignments, in task, we always ask, the examiner asks you to write the detail in the notes section. Why? Because it's a kind of a
Correct.
report of that point. Regularly share progress reports that highlight key achievements, challenges, and future action. This what happiness this gives a very nice impact to the stakeholders that these organizations are working very hard to achieve the goals. Then adaptability and flexibility. Recognize that the business environment is dynamic. It changes rapidly day by day because we are facing rivalry issues, competitors in the industries. The measures the measures and targets should be adaptable to changing circumstances, allowing for timely adjustment as needed. For example, the goal which we have to achieve is only going to be achievable in 2 years. But what if we give the deadline that we will be achieving in 8 months? That is not acceptable at all. It will demotivate the employees until and unless you are giving them fringe benefits or extra payments or bonuses. Okay. By following these steps and principles, an organization can develop a comprehensive and effective framework for monitoring the effects of its planned corporate communication strategy. Now, do you see that how I concluded my answer as in the slide? This is how you have to do in the assignments as well. This approach
Okay, ma'am.
ensures that the measures are well defined, relevant, and aligned with the organization goals. Again, whatever the steps we have taken from step number 1 till 12, the dotted outcomes, they should be amalgamated with the organization's goal. They should not be deviating with it. Enabling informed decision making and continuous improvement. Only then we are able to make a perfect corporate communication strategy plan. Clear? Any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now the distinction task, which is the last one, it says evaluate the effectiveness of the current levels of organizational corporate communication for a named organization. I did give the example of the named organization, but we will be discussing it in general as well, in both ways. Now the word evaluate, as in command, it means command verb that you have to tell about the strengths and weaknesses, similarities and differences, and the perspectives of various authors. So according to these things, you can easily write up to 2-3 pages, right, Mariam?
Yes.
Because we have to give the answer in detail. Now, to evaluate the effectiveness of the current levels of organization corporate communication for a named organization, these will be the steps. First is define evaluation criteria. Determine the criteria you will use to assess the effectiveness of the corporate communication. Now, these criteria could include clarity of messaging, consistency, stakeholder engagement, response to feedback, alignment with organizational goals, and so on. So these are the evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria of what? Of your organizational process in the corporate communication strategy. We can even ask from the HODs, the managers, the senior managers, the firm-time managers. We can even ask the stakeholders to give the report, to give the feedback, to evaluate, are we approaching towards our goals firmly or not?
Ma'am, this thing is after implementing the communication strategy, then we are evaluating whether it is being going into the line or not. Evaluation means that, right?
Yes. See, first we made the
How effective it is.
yes, how effective it is in the
Okay.
organization. And we have to
Okay.
link it with the corporate again, because this is how things goes on in the subject. Clear?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Okay. Then we gather information. Collect the data on the organization's corporate communication practices. That is what is actually happening in the organization. We have to collect that regarding the communication process. This can involve reviewing internal and external communication materials, observing social media interactions, analyzing customer feedback, and examining communication plan. This is what social media management does in the organization. That is why it is a very high selling post at the moment, even if you do a remote work or even if you do it in the organization by your physical appearance. Because they are actually looking at what is happening in different departments. After every week, we do get the reports. For example, I'm working in the Bahria University as a social media management post. Now, what is I have to see the reports after every week of my different departments, the sectors which are in Islamabad, uh, the Medical College of Bahria University in Karachi, and the Karachi campus as well, and the Lahore campus as well. So we do get the weekly reports and monthly reports that what admissions are going to come, what sort of seminars we are going to handle in the upcoming week or month. So this is what gathering information inside the organization means. And we does through email, surveys, even on the calls. This is how things happen. This is
Even
a
the
very realistic example. Yeah.
even the system can be the one the centralized system which we say for accounting purpose we use it.
We call it ERP. That's called
Yeah,
ERP.
like that. Even that is the example of this. We can give it in
Well,
this
exactly.
gathering.
It is specifically in the IT organization, the one which are exactly
Okay.
into the technologies, tech innovations like.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that system is called ERP. One system
Okay,
is
ma'am.
connected to all of the systems and they gather the information that what is actually happening.
Yes.
Then we have analyzed trends. Identify the strengths of the organization corporate communication. Look for the aspects where the organization excels. That is, uh, every organization has their own plus points. They know which employee, which department excels more. It proceeds further, such as clear branding, engaging the content, effective use of various communication channels, or successful event promotion. Now, this depends on the organization and their departments. That is why we always have a conference on a yearly and biannually basis to praise the departments as well in the organizations. Because not each and every department can work effectively. For example, there is a textile industry, Hayat Properties. Their graphic department is very unified in Pakistan. Like the designs, the thoughts, they are excellent. So they are renowned for it, the specific department in the organization. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then identify the weaknesses as well. Pinpoint areas where the organization corporate communication might be lacking. For example, the city could include inconsistent messaging. That is, we are not responding to our customers' queries. Poor response to customer inquiries, again, and inconsistent messaging should be delaying reply to our very most favorite or loyal customers or our loyal suppliers, low engagement on social media, or a lack of alignment with the stakeholder needs. Now, there are many organizations that they don't get prosper in the on the national level. Why? Because they lack socially, as in on the social media. When COVID came, these apps, Zoom, Teams were invented. Before that, there was Google Meet. But you know what? Specifically in Pakistan, the teachers, they are around 50s and 60s. They weren't able to use Zoom, nor Teams, nor even Google Meet. So that was the biggest weakness, or you can say hurdle, while delivering the lecture online. And the students were teaching the teachers, and then they were able to teach us. Consider feedback mechanism. Evaluate whether the organization has effective feedback mechanism in place. This includes surveys, focus groups, customer reviews, employee feedback, which can provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of communication. Obviously, we as an organization, why we are stable? We are stable through the feedback from the customers, mainly. Why? Because we are selling the product to them. So it is very important. We should have a very nice, great, and effective feedback system so we can make the changes and amendments time to time. Then measure stakeholder engagement. Assess the level of engagement the organization has within its stakeholders, both internally and externally. High engagement indicates effective communication. Is this clear? Should I explain it?
Yes, ma'am. No,
Oh,
ma'am. I understood.
okay, perfect. Then we have review communication plan. Now you can link it with the plan, the merit one, the merit AC, with this distinction. We have to use that again and again. First,
Yes.
examine the organization's communication plan to determine if they align with the strategic goals. Maybe there is a problem in your organization and you are unable to figure it out why it arose. And then case, what you can do is you can always open the communication plan, whatever you have made, and you can compare it with the organizational missions and statements or the goals or objectives. And then we can do the calculation or analysis where the problem was. Effective communication plans should contribute to achieving the organization's objectives. So these are both linked together. Analyze impact on perception. Evaluate how the organization's corporate communication affects its perception in the eyes of stakeholders. It depends on stakeholders. You cannot convince them. It is on your capability that how you perform your self in front of them through your sales. Obviously, if you're able to achieve more sales in shorter period of time, they are going to be more attracted towards your organization. They are going to give you more investment. The last point is make recommendations. Based on the evaluation, provide recommendations for improving corporate communication. These recommendations should be actionable, addressing the weaknesses identified and building upon those strengths. For example, few points are not achievable in the organization. For example, we are going to convince the supplier to get the payment, the credit payment after 3 years. Now, this is a very lame and non-achievable plan, a corporate communication plan strategy. This will what? It will affect the goodwill of the organization. They are going to defame your company in the suppliers market. So we have to see that, and basically we have to pinpoint all the weaknesses in those plans in order to make the company prosper in the future. Now, this is the evaluation, as in the conclusion part. Remember that the evaluation of the corporate communication effectiveness is an ongoing process. That is, you are not going to stick one plan strategy. That is not possible, not achievable. We have to change it according to the amendments made in the organization. Regularly monitor and adjust communication strategies based on the feedback and changing organizational needs. Do you agree with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Additionally, involving stakeholders in the evaluation process can provide valuable insights. That is, obviously, they are more expert in this area, specific corporate society. So we have to always ask suggestions from them and ensure that the communication strategy remains aligned with their expectations. And their expectations are the goals and objectives of the organization. And the main goal or the first goal is always maximizing the profit. Now, if you relate the distinction part, the question was, we have to relate the effectiveness with the named organization. So
Yes.
first we discuss in general, like these are the steps which you need to follow. And then we have to relate it with the real-time organization. Now, in your case, it can be a multinational. For example, like this, I was very shocked. I was making slide for my level 4 students, and I wanted to know few environmental issues. No brands are going to tell their weaknesses openly, and mainly the bigger one and the smaller one as well. First, I searched an Indian company. It was one-on-one net. The Google was unable to give me the data for it. I was shocked. Then I searched Grammarly, the one which is used to correct the grammars of our assignments. Even it was not able to provide the details. Then I typed Nike, which we generally pronounce Nike brand. I was able to get the data for it. So you can try those companies which are more sustainable. We can get the data of it. It can be an Adidas, it can be Nike, even Apple. They openly tell their strengths and weaknesses to the public. So you can opt for these examples as well. And then you can even give the examples of KPMG. This is again a multinational company, and Tabasco as well.
Okay, ma'am.
But it depends. Like you told me that your husband or you were working in the multinational in your past.
Yes, my husband is working, yeah.
So you
Lulu
can even
hypermarket.
the Lulu hypermarket. See, it's a big brand, even the Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, ma'am.
you can definitely get the data for it as well. But I will make a research on it, whether we are going to get the weaknesses of it or not, because the command verb is again evaluate. We have to see the strength weaknesses as well.
Okay, ma'am.
I gave the
Ma'am,
example
here
of yeah.
in this question, do we have to first generally explain all the steps and
No,
then
no, no.
relate it to the or
I
directly?
no. First made you explain in general because I want you
Yes,
to
yes.
understand the question fully. But you are actually going to link with the named organization. This is the main question, in the task given.
Okay. Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay.
It was just for your understanding because obviously we are going to use these points, but we have to connect it with the organization, and you will see that how I did it in this
Okay, ma'am.
sample. Here I this. Hmm. To evaluate the effectiveness of the current levels of organizational corporate communication for a named organization, you can easily see that I just copied the question while giving the answer. Let's consider the
Yes.
example of global tech solution. This evaluation will assess the strengths and weaknesses and provide personal judgments on the effectiveness of the current practice. Now, the word evaluation, their command verb abbreviation, I also added in my answer. You can easily see it.
Yes.
That's how I'm going to write the answer. This is just a sample. Strengths of the current corporate communications, that is the global tech. The first thing is clear brand messaging. Global Tech Solutions effectively communicate its brand identity and value proposition across various channels. The company's core message are consistent, leading to a strong brand image, that is their goodwill in the market. This is they want as a strength of their organization. Then multi-channel presence. The organization maintains a robust online presence through its website, social media platforms, and email campaigns. This multi-channel approach allows for the widespread reach and engagement. Again, if you can see when I was discussing the general steps, these were the words which we discussed in those steps. And I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
formed into an answer. But this is a very limited answer. I have in when while you will be doing in your assignments and tasks, it is going to be a bit lengthy.
Okay.
Stakeholder engagement plans. Global Tech Solutions has developed well-structured stakeholder engagement plans that consider the needs and preferences of different stakeholders, such as customers, investors, and employees. Now, these words were used in the steps very randomly. Like after 1, 2, 3 step, the stakeholder, customers, and investors were discussed. But I just beautifully summed up in this strength portion because every organization do has a stakeholder engagement plan. They're going to consider the employees, the investors, the customers as an important asset of the organization. Then we have regular updates. The company consistently provides timely updates on the product launches, industry insights, and corporate developments. This helps keep stakeholders informed and engaged. This is also clear, Maria?
Yes, ma'am.
Online customer interaction. Global Tech Solutions actively engages with the customers through online platforms, promptly responding to inquiries and addressing the concern. This contributes to a positive customer experience because this company, they know that the main audience or the target or the focus group are the youth. They are more into the social media, into the internet rather than uh, brochures, emails, as in what do we call it, post office emails, like that. So this is how they can capture the larger market. Then we have quantitative measures. The organization tracks key metrics, the global tech solution, such as website traffic, social media engagement, and email open rates. These quantitative measures provide insights into the reach and impact of communication efforts. That is how many people are watching your stories, sharing your videos on the social media. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we have weaknesses of the global tech. Lack of personalization. While the organization uses various channels, communication lacks personalization. Tailoring messages to the individual segments could enhance engagement and relevance. Again, not everyone is used to the social media, Instagram or LinkedIn. There are elderly people as well, which are using your technology. You have to approach those people as well. You have to ask their reviews, their amendments as well. Limited two-way communication. Obviously, it is. While Global Tech Solution responds to customer inquiries through online moves frequently, there is a room for improvement in proactively seeking feedback through surveys, focus groups, and interviews. Again, do you agree with this statement as well? That this is the weakness
Yes,
of
ma'am.
the organization because they're only working through online platform. That's not fair
Yes.
enough. Even the big multinational, they do have surveys and focus groups. They're working by like what we can call it, like on a both side parallel.
Their
They're working.
surveys are also online, right?
Yeah, it is, but not everybody is used to fill the form through Google surveys. It is difficult for the elderly people.
Yes.
So we have to consider those people as well. Then we have inconsistent content quality. The quality of the content varies across different channels. Ensuring consistently high quality content can strengthen the organization credibility. Again, it's a weakness of it. For example, I think, to you guys or the other levels us that the H&M and the Primark, they are a very local brands in UK and even in India as well, the Primark. But their main hub is in the Bangladesh. Most of their fabric is made over there. Why? Because the labor is cheap. So the quality also differs. You cannot expect a very high quality, high-end quality from it. After 1 to 3 wash, what happens is the cloth quality just deteriorate. It feels like you have, it's just a rusty piece of cloth, which you can use for mopping. Measuring ROI, that is the return on the investment, the organization struggles to effectively measure the ROI of its communication efforts. Connecting communication outcomes to business outcomes could enhance decision making. Obviously, when we are able to know that what is happening in our communication, that is what is the feedback from it, and what is actually happening in the organization, we are going to be coming. We are going to implement a better decision. We are going to make a better or a good decision, which is effective in a longer period of time. Then we have personal judgments on effectiveness. Now, this is not a state. If you remember, in last point of evaluate command where we have to give the perception of the ourselves and different authors. So it's that the current approach, the current corporate communication practices of the global tech solutions exhibit several strengths that contribute to its brand reputation and stakeholder engagement. The multi-channel presence and clear brand messaging are commendable. Additionally, the emphasis on the stakeholder engagement plan showcases a strategic approach to communication. Is this clear? This is how
Yes,
we
ma'am.
conclude the answers as a personal judgment, opinion.
Judgment. Yes.
Then, however, always when we make a conclusion or a personal opinion we are giving in the exam or even to a person, we have to contradict with the however. There are areas for improvement. While the company excels in quantitative measure, incorporating more qualitative feedback through surveys, focus groups, and interviews could provide deeper insights. This is very simple. What I'm doing is I am just like converting my strength into weaknesses. Moreover, enhancing personalization, consistent content quality, and measuring ROI will be crucial to further elevate the effectiveness of the corporate communication. Now, this is how I just sum up my weaknesses into just 2 points. This is how I concluded it. And finally, in my personal judgment, the current practice is effective to a certain extent, but there is potential for enhancement. By addressing the identified weaknesses and building upon existing strengths, global tech solutions can create a more comprehensive and impactful corporate communication strategy that aligns with the organization's goals and resonates with the stakeholders. Thank you. Any further question? Do you want me to discuss this example again, Mariam?
No, ma'am. I understood, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So technically our course ended, Alhamdulillah, today. And in the upcoming class, I'm only going to discuss the assignment.
Okay, ma'am.